Well, I think one of the reasons why it might hit a person like me, and you mentioned it already here, is perfectionism. I also deal with a lot of people, obviously, who want to write books that have this trait of perfectionism, and it can really get in the way of them completing their project or their expectations for how the book will turn out, what it will do, the time frame in which it'll take, all that kind of stuff. So if you don't mind, tell us a little bit about what it was like for you to realize perfectionism was maybe getting in your way, and how does it influence attempts at visibility? And what can we do to get over that if that's something that we have?
I think I spent a lot of time reading Brene Brown, and she helped me get some perspective on perfectionism. I took her class that she was doing with Oprah at one point, which was helping people understand that you are enough just as you are right now. You don't have to do anything special or anything different. You're great. And so that was kind of my first introduction to that. And then the other impactful thing that she did was talk about when you are trying to be a perfectionist, all you're trying to do is avoid criticism. And it goes right back into that place of, do you feel like an imposter? You're trying to be perfect in order to prove to everybody that you should be there. And, perfection is an illusion. That's one of my recent podcast episodes, because it's just not reality. You can never attain it. And people are wasting so much energy trying to be perfect, when if you could just trust yourself and realize that you're wonderful the way you are right now, it just takes all that pressure off of you, and you can actually show up in your best way.
I was talking to an expert in the mental health area. We were talking about perfectionism, and she kind of defined it really in terms of performance anxiety. And she talked about athletes having that performance anxiety, and how they have to get past it. They can't let it overtake them. And I think, you said about trust, like trusting in your own talents, trusting in your hard work, trusting in the people who have given you positive feedback about yourself, and that they were, kind, intelligent people, and they wouldn't lie to you. And so, they're not lying to
Yes.
me. So they're obviously, it's there. And just letting the performance part of it just be what it's going to be. Like now with my lights going out, and
Yes. Imperfect world, right? We just go with it. Yeah.
So, before I started kind of working in this area myself, personally, that I don't know if it might have shut me down. And that's what perfectionism can do. It can shut us down. And I think another word for it is, procrastination, because it gives us that excuse to say, oh, I just wanted to be perfect before I start.
Right, exactly.
Before I get it out there.
Yep.
And like you said, it's an illusion. There's no perfect at all.
No.
That's a flag for me, actually, if someone contacts me, and this actually has happened before. And we went on to work on several books together. But when someone says, I want the book to be perfect, I just want it to be perfect. And that's like a red flag for me, because I tell them right away, there is no such thing as perfect. Even the best writers in the world could go back and make something a little bit tighter, a little bit, more engaging. So if really like that's top key for you, I might not be your girl. I'm going to be the one. So we talk about expectations right away.
Yeah.
Because they can really get in the way. So that's also a part of, you mentioned imposter syndrome, and you spent a whole chapter later in the book on imposter syndrome. Can you talk a little bit about that and how that plays in with visibility?
Well, I think in so many ways, if I think back to my, that part of the moment where I was sitting in the back of the room, all of the thoughts in my head were about imposter syndrome. I'm not good enough to sit at the table with the executive team. I don't know enough. I'm not smart enough. They know way more than I do. So I was in comparison a lot. I thought I had to be like all of those people. And what I realized is that it was like an internal struggle for me. It was taking all my energy to be that person that I think that they wanted me to be. Now, they never said that, by the way. That was my own internal vision of what I thought I should be.
Mhm.
No one ever told me that, but I kept trying to be, I think, what they wanted me to be. And so as I started to realize and trust myself and trust that I knew more and trust that I needed to be there for my team, it just helped me let go of some of that stuff and let go of that in a big way so that I could actually show up in a better way for people and actually have recommendations and ideas to share and not be shy about them. Because a business mentor of mine, when I was going through some of this, said, Sue, you were hired for a reason. And if you don't say anything in the room, then the people above you cannot make a decision because you're the one who knows the answers. And it was like, oh gosh, of course, right? If I'm not in the room talking about it, how are they going to know, what to do? So that was another moment of course, right? This makes more sense if I just show up as myself and not try to be what I think everybody else thinks I should be and just do what I need to do.
I know for in the field of writing, right? So I went to get an MFA, Vermont College of Fine Arts, yay. And I ran into this term there over and over again, imposter syndrome. And for the folks there, it was a lot like I must have gotten in this college on some sort of accident or a fluke. I'm not really supposed to be here, right? And when
Yeah.
they discover that I'm really not that great of a writer, they're going to come in and haul me away in the middle of a critique group. Everybody's going to point and laugh at me and say, "Oh, you weren't supposed to be here." That
Yep.
kind of like actually like you're wearing a disguise, right? And you're in there with your little
Yes.
mustache, your little glasses, and you're not supposed to be there. You know, um, you name a couple of different like types or traits.
Mhm.
Can you tell us a little bit about those? I think the perfectionist was one of them. What were some of
Yeah,
the
I mean,
others?
I have 6 in the book and I kind of created my own names for them, but I also gave kind of the more generic name with them. But procrastination is one, boundaries, holding your boundaries, being able to, perfectionism is another one, procrastination, boundaries. I'm trying to think of the other 3 that are escaping my brain right now. But those are things that show up for you at different times, whether that's in your career, whether that's in your life. All of those things show up at different times. And so as I wrote about all of those, I thought, I remember when that one happened for me. I remember when this one happened for me. I remember when this one happened for me. And so all of those things just show up at different times, but they have overlaps. So, another one was people pleasing.
Mhm.
People pleasing and boundaries are very tightly knit together because people don't want to say no to other people. So you'll let your boundaries go at any time and give in to other people to make them happy. But you may be miserable. You may be doing something that other people want you to do, but it's not exactly what you want to do. But in order to keep the peace and keep the harmony, you will do it and give up your
Going
time.
along with their idea. In
Right.
a business setting, we're in this group and we're supposed to be figuring this out. And someone's put out an idea and you don't want to upset them. You don't want to rock the boat. You won't be seen as the, excuse my language, but the bitchy girl that has to make a fuss. So that can get in the way. I've
Mm-hmm.
dealt with that before, for myself personally. And then I get past it because yeah, I can't handle it. I have to say something. If I think that like it's the wrong way, or let's just try, maybe let's think about it this way. That's
Yeah.
one way to think about it. How about we think about it this way, right?
Of course.